welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera, and I'm joined, as always, by my two suggestive co-hosts, Katie.
Oh,
hello.
Eyebrow waggle, wink, wink, nudge,
tug,
nudge,
tug.
ew.
And
Ew.
Livy.
Hi.
Today, we are talking about 318 Fins, Femmes, and Gems. A funny episode. A comedy. Should we get into it, or is there anything that we need to discuss beforehand?
I don't know. Let's just talk about it.
Let's do it.
This one's written by Adam Armis and Nora K. Foster.
It's a story by them and Rob.
Oh, right.
And I can see his fingerprints all over this baby.
His scales all over it. And directed by Josh Becker.
Who's, again, our old friend from Michigan.
Yeah.
He goes way back with the Raimis and with Rob.
And Armis and Foster lasted...
Quill, I believe.
Do you guys remember that one time I called her Nora K. Fart?
I do.
I still fucking laugh at that.
That's in the Xena Warrior Podcast Hall of Fame. Nora K. Farts.
It was an accident. All right. So we have a summary for this one.
Oh, we do,
Or-
yes.
Yeah.
TV Guide does, not us.
The plot of this episode is A, irrelevant, and B, both confusing and also flimsy. It's one of those episodes. It's often the Armis Foster episodes where we have that complaint that there's a lot of plot, but it's all pretty meaningless.
Yeah, because basically, like, it boils down to you need some kind of plot to make the gags that they wanted to film.
You gotta
happen.
string them together. The gags are each like a pearl, and you gotta put it on your necklace, which is the plot.
Yes.
So the plot is Aphrodite, she's in this for a scene, steals the mystic diamond that keeps the North Star lit, then casts spells on Xena, Gabrielle, and Joxer to keep them from retrieving it. Whenever I hear that stuff about keeping the North Star lit, I just think of Lucy Lawless messing up all that exposition.
That's a good blooper.
Oh my gosh, over and over again. It's painful in a funny way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is just so much dumb exposition too. Like, I totally feel for her. Like, it's like, none of this is important. Like, why did Aphrodite steal a thing that, like, would destroy the world? Like, it's a little odd.
Well, we sort of know because DeBeers was part of this whole episode.
DeBeers wanted a diamond in the episode.
She was going to move it to the center of her constellation?
Yeah, to make...
Because she's so beautiful, like, she deserves the most, the diamond from Titanic, basically.
But she doesn't care if, I guess, all the sea captains who use it to guide their way, like, crash against the rocks.
Yeah.
It's not interesting to her. Okay. Sea captains are ugly.
So, yes, DeBeers, as we mentioned, was definitely part of the conception of this episode.
Which is so bizarre.
Yeah.
To do a whole episode based on DeBeers.
But is this, like, the only time ever this kind of thing happened? Because, like, this show doesn't really have, like, product placement.
It's pretty,
and this isn't, like,
damn hard.
This isn't product
this
placement
isn't product
either.
placement because, like, the whole...
What about Lord Seltzer?
They didn't, like...
Seltzer isn't a product.
It is, I
Yes,
think.
it
It's a
is.
brand
Well,
name.
Seltzer is a brand name?
I think so.
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm making
Is
that
it like
up.
Kleenex?
Tell us, friendly listeners, is Seltzer a brand
From
name?
the Seltzer family?
I don't think it's a brand name.
Well, I guess, like, the point is that DeBeers bought out a lot of airtime, like, during broadcasts, like, for their diamond commercials, so they needed to include a diamond, like, in the episode.
They were going to give more money if
yeah,
it featured
basically,
a diamond.
Yeah, and incept you all watchers of this episode to go buy your guys and gals
I need
some
a giant
diamonds.
diamond as featured on Xena Warrior Princess.
Yes, or as Josh Becker put in his tell-all rushes by Josh Becker, really it was all a ploy for Rob to get a free diamond for Lucy.
Oh.
So funny. Oh my
Okay.
God. Ulterior motives. I mean, get it. Get that diamond for Lucy. You stick in all the product placement
my
you
God.
want, Rob.
Oh.
Okay, can we talk about Josh Becker?
Yes.
Because I really want to track down this book. Rushes? it's
Yeah,
called?
Rushes. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, we need this in our lives because it sounds like he really just doesn't hold back with his opinions.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, who do you trust?
I mean,
Because-
trust no one.
right.
I want all the sides to the story. So yeah,
Yeah.
one of the earlier, we may have referenced this when we first talked about the Joxer the Mighty song, which is that Josh Becker says he wrote the
Really
song.
elaborates in Rushes about how he created that song all by himself.
But Ted Raimi says he wrote the song.
Yeah. Who do you believe?
I don't know. I don't know who I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it just really seems crazy because a lot of the stuff he says, certainly from like the snippets that I've read from his book, like he just like really like elaborates upon, you know, his involvement with it and stuff. And on the one hand, yeah, it's your book. You remember it, you know, you're the hero of your own story. But on the other hand, like, dang, I don't know. I feel like Ted maybe created that song, but who knows?
He spills some tea about this episode in particular and seems to have created a bit of a fandom maelstrom with his statements about
Do tell.
what this episode was originally going to be before the network weighed in and DeBeers weighed in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, the original conception of this episode, according to Josh Becker, who we are not sure whether or not to trust his particular version of events, he says it was going to be a coming out episode for Xena and Gabrielle, that Rob wanted to do a coming out episode after having seen the famous Ellen coming out episode. And that was the original idea. That was how he phrased it. The fans
How soon
obviously...
after?
Yeah, I don't know. When would Ellen's big episode appear?
We would have to look it up. Late.
I'm very skeptical
90s.
of this.
And then
tea.
and then he goes, Rob is talking to the network executive and he's like, but the coming out episode of Ellen was huge. The executive replied, but this isn't Ellen, this is Xena, and she's not coming out of anywhere.
Okay.
Oddly threatening. Xena's never coming out of anywhere ever again.
And then you like cut to Steve Sears. It was never intended as a coming out episode.
I mean, I believe that. I also don't really believe, I mean, of course I would love to believe that they looked at something monumental like that and were like, yeah, we want to do that too. But also like Ellen immediately like tanked and was canceled. So I can't see a producer being like, yes, let's emulate
that model.
which is, I mean, it's awful. I do love the idea that would have been an idea, but I am a little skeptical.
And I just think if we are to believe Josh Becker, like, would it really be this like ridiculous farcical episode?
No, I believe that was an original idea that then got shot down, right? So let's talk about the idea.
Right. The actual idea that I think Josh Becker is referring to in this particularly heated way that really got the fans going, it was that Gabrielle was going to be put under Aphrodite's spell and become obsessed with sex, and sex specifically with Xena. Yeah. So she was just going to be very, like, erotically hung up on every single little thing Xena did.
Sounds good.
And everything she said, Xena would
Much
say.
as we do, yeah.
Much as we all do.
Yeah. She just would be like, your eyes are so blue.
But it went even further. It's like anything that Xena said, no matter what it was, like would come out as a double entendre for Gabrielle. And so like it would have been really funny with their, you know, dialogue and whatnot.
And Xena would have still been obsessed with fishing.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Because that's for sure something Rob wanted from this episode.
Oh, yes.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
That's how we know
That's why
Rob
it's like
wrote
story
this
by
episode.
Rob.
Because the
This is
entire
yeah.
episode hinges on fishing. And in fact, you have these long sections where it's just like Xena musing about like how wonderful fishing is. And you just feel like this was Rob being like, guys, I'm going to explain to you what I see in fishing.
You're finally gonna see what I see, the beauty of the fish. Yeah, but there was also like all sorts of other stuff that Josh Becker said in his book that was like in the script that was supposed to be in this episode. There's crazy pants.
Yeah, here, I actually have some of it flagged, stuff that he claimed one of the co-producers just who's a woman, was very unhappy about, just did not think it was respectful. Like, Gabrielle, like, lying down on the ground and looking
just
up.
Upskirting Xena.
Yeah, upskirting Xena. Yeah, see, Katie looks appalled.
She's scandalized.
I don't know how I feel.
We're holding your pearls.
Ask me again in like an hour.
Yeah, she stood up at the head of department meeting and strenuously objected to this, saying women don't do that.
And then they were supposed to roll around in the tide, French kissing.
Yes,
like
From Here to Eternity.
Yes.
Which I would have been all for, sure.
Yeah, and
also, they would have filmed a DeBeers commercial.
Yes, that's the best part, I think. Josh Becker was like, Rob insisted we film a DeBeers commercial in this, where those commercials from the 90s, I don't know if you guys remember.
I don't remember
I
them.
do.
What do they look like?
So DeBeers had an amazing campaign where it was filmed like in shadows. So the shadow of the woman and the man kind of like coming together, and like whenever the woman stood next to something, like the only thing you see is like her diamond earring, her like diamond necklace, and it's like, you know, your lady's worth it. Buy her this diamond from DeBeers with like this like sensual, you know, music. It was a massive campaign. Like
this podcast has been brought to you by DeBeers.
Yes, we are just like shining in diamonds right now. So they wanted to, you know, film Xena and Gabrielle have like a love scene in shadow format.
Wow.
To kind of emulate this commercial.
Oh my God. What?
So I mean, yeah, this is going really, really far with the subtext, and I think this is legit. We trust Josh on the actual content of the script, but I think people were approaching this as it being, you know, comedy, it not actually being like a serious social statement. It was meant to just be like the subtext dialed up to 1,000. But Steve said some good things about it, I thought. I'm not sure I have that written down. Oh, I do. I do have it. That he thought it was funny, but he also thought it like didn't actually make sense in the context of the show, because like why would this only be happening under the influence of a spell?
Yeah.
Or like what does it say about their relationship if that is what is, you know, revealed in this episode, that this is like a spell? Like, how do we go from there? And basically, I mean, his concern was that how do we go back to ambiguity after that? Like they would have to like really commit to it otherwise.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like, and I can totally see Rob being all for this, because Rob clearly was a big fan of the subtext and wanted to go there, wanted to push the envelope, but was kind of, you know, using this spell as an excuse to do it. And this isn't the kind of thing you do with an excuse.
No.
You know, if you're gonna do it, you have to like do it. You can't be like, oh, here's a great trick where I can finally get my way for a single episode. So I totally, like, when I first heard that they had removed this because DeBeers had a problem with it, I was like so up in arms.
The studio had a problem.
Yeah.
And which they did.
But you know, now that I've read more about like what the original content was going to be, I get it. I don't know if I'm like happy that this happened precisely, because I don't really like the way the episode turned out, but like I get why they made that choice. I totally see what Steve means about, why is this happening only under the influence of a spell? And why is like Gabrielle like, oh my God, something's so weird, I want to have sex with Xena. I'm like, that's not weird.
That's not great.
Well, that's why
it's just her being obsessed with like looking at
that's kind of
the
some people said that was
not paintings, but what was it?
It was like
Kama
whatever,
Sutra.
erotic sex positions
and
on the
then
wall.
just like Xena's there, and like it's not like
that's how they should have approached it, which is that she should have only been obsessed with with sex. It doesn't matter what it was.
Just being extra.
Yeah, like
I mean that would be
in general, and that's how you get away.
Horny teen Gabs.
And that's why you get away with it. And like her inner thing was that she needs to get laid. You know, that's like how she breaks the spell. She comes to the realization she needs to get laid.
She's not getting laid?
Yeah.
Well,
see, this is the problem with this.
I don't think that. I don't think these people
an
have been charting, you know, their relationship quite the same way.
No. Yeah,
So anyway.
I mean, with that extra tea, I didn't know that extra stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that's not like in the episode, but I'm also a little bit meh on the content as well.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it seems to have shaken down the way it did, which is that this was the episode until like 3 days before they were set to shoot. They had to do this really hasty rewrite.
Right.
I mean, usually that brings out the best in the Xena crew, like The Quest. You know, you write that in a day.
Yeah.
And it's people's favorite episode. I know that Femmes, and Gems also has a big contingent of fans. People enjoy
there's
this
a
episode.
little bit of subtext in it.
There's a lot of subtext.
There's a lot of funny. I like moments in it and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
As far as like the comedies go, it doesn't rank like super high
it's
for me.
a little too
where
one note for me.
yeah, I think I can see why people enjoy it. It's it is funny, but it is it's a little repetitive.
Like, we're basically
For
going
my
to tell you guys, like, the 3 jokes.
Yeah,
in
there
the
are 3
episode.
jokes.
And that's it. Those are all the jokes.
Gabrielle's obsessed with herself. Xena loves fishing. Joxer is an ape-man.
That's it.
That's
Those are
it.
the 3. Ha, ha, ha. I would say that Gabrielle being obsessed with herself is funny.
It is funny.
Throughout. Every single time. It's funny. Xena fishing. If your name is Rob Tapert, it's hysterical. If you're anybody else, you're more just a little baffled by it.
My whole thing with that is that we have seen this already.
We have.
In the Quill.
And in
Right, really recently in
Yeah,
Quill.
and where else?
And we know that she likes
She's
maybe not-
obsessed with fishing anyway.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Isn't that
Yeah.
That's
what makes it funny?
a
No,
day
it's
in the
what
life.
makes it less funny.
She's fun. She does her Gollum fishing.
Yeah.
in a
So
day
she
in the
likes fishing in general, and like I understand that part of this, episode
Girls
is like
gotta
about
eat.
yeah. But part of this episode is about her like backstory, which was a genuinely great part of this episode.
I think it makes the episode.
But
Yeah.
like she could have found something funnier, like I was like, oh, I would have loved to see Xena be self-obsessed.
That's
she's
true.
like, I'm
Like,
the one
my eyes are
princess.
so
like-
blow.
So they could just film around this lake for a whole
Yeah.
shoot.
Well, I had this theory. Well, I have 2 theories to share with you. The first is, it was very striking to me that like Xena actually already is obsessed with fishing more than is healthy for a person. And I wondered if maybe that's why she always like had her eyes on the plot where everybody else seemed totally derailed. It's just like she had been enchanted to do a thing that she like already does, so she
Yeah.
had more focus.
It's like Joxer and the angry stuff where he was like
Right,
less
it took
angry
him a
because
while,
of his
yeah.
life.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
She's so used to balancing her obsession with fishing with her other responsibilities.
daily life.
Oh my god. Yeah, any moment she's gonna go off and like crazy fish.
So my other theory, which I think is kind of in the episode, is that these things, like these obsessions are things that everybody is a little bit obsessed with.
What do you mean everybody?
I feel like, Gabrielle can be vain.
Oh,
in
okay.
certain
I thought you meant
ways.
like I'm not obsessed with fishing.
No. No, I mean like these are things that they actually have inside them all
Yeah.
along. I'm not really sure what to make of Joxer the Ape-man, but he's very
Well, all men.
I mean, there
regress
is.
to that.
And like we see how
Tug.
just
Oh,
doing
no.
Forget Me Not, like he's so eager to like gaslight and get
Yes.
it on with somebody as soon as they seem like open to it. So there is this kind of like primitive man quality to Joxer that this is playing up. I think Gabrielle does have, our favorite selfish pettiness about
Well, Forget Me Not proved it.
She has a certain high opinion of herself, but I mean, not in,
That wasn't petty,
not
but I know what you
physical
mean.
vanity, but this more, this
Yeah.
slightly different thing.
I think like that comes across to it's been in the show so far and then keeps going, especially with her like barding and her
Yeah.
like opinion of herself as a
Right.
writer. And then sometimes they make fun of the fact that maybe she's not actually very good, but
and they talk later about
She
how
is.
she like gets hung up on the fact that Joxer's in love with her because that like makes her feel good about herself. Like there are these moments where you see a version of vanity, and then of course for Xena it's fishing, so she does that.
Right. She sure does. I like kind of finding out that all the stuff that she actually does is like real stuff that you do. I mean, like obviously I know catfishing's a thing, so like yes, you can fist a fish and punch it in the
Do
face.
you really punch
Yes,
a fish in the
apparently,
face?
yes.
That's how you do it?
Apparently.
With your hand. Just boom.
But the
Take
kite
that
thing,
fish.
that was new. Like what?
Kite
You
fishing?
like kite fishing? Yeah, that's like a thing?
yeah.
What? Is that in the
Yeah.
north you do that?
I don't
in
know.
New England?
I was
New
reading.
Zealand.
Yes, that's
Oh,
exactly
okay.
what I read. That it started in New Zealand.
So what, you just like have a kite and you like fish
Yeah,
with it, and then
you
you like
clip along it with the bait, so you can drag like multiple baits on one kite line, and yeah.
So can you drone fish?
Xena
That's
invented
basically
it.
Oh my god, drone fishing! That totally seems like a thing someone should
21st
invent.
century
Yeah.
fishing.
But yeah, Xena totally invented it
Yeah, of course.
in New Zealand, even.
Yeah.
So,
Not Greece.
so, I mean, should we very briefly discuss Aphrodite? Because like that's
Yeah.
not really in the episode.
the
One
open
of its
of the episode.
problems is
Yeah.
that she gets the ball rolling with the plot, but then doesn't appear again. And
Yeah.
there too, it's like a production thing. They only had her for one day.
Oh.
So I mean, I feel like all my issues with this are it's sloppy. It feels like one joke. It doesn't have Aphrodite integrated into it. There's reasons for all these
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
They had some difficulties here with this.
Oh, she would
episode.
have been welcome.
Yeah, oh
To-
gosh.
yeah.
I mean, but she would have just like appeared and laughed
Yeah,
at
but I
them
don't
and
care.
then
Like, I love
disappeared.
I love it. I would love that.
It keeps it like tied into
Yeah.
the open.
And it was just hard to really care about the plot, you know? I just go back again to that hilarious blooper of Lucy
Yeah.
not being able to, like, even, like, jam the entire plot into that one statement. Which,
Isn't like part of the bloopers like the story is that Lucy went to a party and was like hungover the
Yeah.
next day, and so then a lot of bloopers happened.
Yeah,
that's
poor
what you guys
Lucy.
have to thank for
but
that.
they threw this, like, really difficult, it's like a single shot,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wide shot. She has to just, you know, like a whole huge wall of text about, like, the North Star and the
Mystic Time.
Temple of the
feel like
Heavens.
we can
Yeah.
quote that scene based on like how much we had to watch it for the bloopers.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
true. You
mean that
know
things
her
that go
lines.
bump in the night really go bump in the night?
Oh God, groan.
But Aphrodite is
Yes.
She has
Oh.
headphones. She's
I loved
listening to
it.
music.
Yes, so she
She's
enters the
rocking
scene like
out.
rocking out with her seashell Walkman,
Yeah.
which is really cute.
Dancing by herself.
Oh, right, that's your attempt at Robin.
Yes.
And of course, my favorite goon. Playing a
Yes.
different goon.
We last saw this guy as the barbarian from Quill, which
Yes.
is like the same
And he
scene.
stole the show
Yeah.
with Bill. I thought he was a standout performance there.
He's great here too. Did you guys notice his like physicality? He walks. This is gonna sound weird, like a ballet dancer.
Oh, I did not
Gracefully
notice.
entered. the
Yeah,
room.
he has like
Gracefully and grandly.
he's very like long legs, and he's just
Well, he's very tall, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you definitely immediately know that he's the boss, just the way he strides in, like, flanked by his goon henchmen.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting familiar with like the random stunty goons behind, number
Oh,
one.
yeah, you were
goon.
like, that guy. I
that
noticed
guy. He
you
was the
in-
one against the army.
Well, I love this moment of double entendres with him and Aphrodite,
Oh, God, yeah.
where he's offering to give her satisfaction with his shaft.
Oh God.
It's fine.
And she reaches out and then just like breaks his arrow, and there's a little
Yep.
noise on the
Meow.
soundtrack. Yep. It was fun.
There
It
was, like,
immediately
3 in a row.
tells you what kind of episode this is, which is like we're gonna have a double entendre, and then we're gonna do it again, and then we're gonna do
And
it again.
that to me is when I kind of start to check out. Like, I don't like that. I like 3 in a row. I'm like, stop. I can't.
I feel like it's all right when you're just watching it, but like when you're trying to like take notes and stuff, it's really difficult. I felt like we watched this episode for 2 hours.
Because we had to write down all the sex jokes,
Yeah.
which is pretty silly of us.
Yeah,
Why did we do that?
we
to
don't- I'm not
ourselves?
gonna do
We're not
all
even
the
gonna
sex
do them.
jokes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is, it's really funny to watch. So
Yeah, I think
for
a lot of
sure,
the
it's a
appeal-
lot of it is just really 1-2 punch jokes.
Yeah, like there's just lots of funny lines
Yeah.
sprinkled throughout that makes it like a
a comedy, a
Fine
good
to
fine
watch.
comedy.
I feel like I'm such an oddball because I love plot. So like this, I think a lot of people come to this episode and be like, oh good, I don't even have to keep up with a plot. It really is just sex jokes and like, and fishing and like, people being cute together. And I'm
then
like,
just
yeah,
go watch A Day in the Life.
I love those, but where's the plot? For like
Yeah.
to have them do this around, and there just isn't one. Like every time they just like keep coming back to the lake to do more fishing, I just started getting annoyed. I was like, fuck this lake, fuck all this fishing. Like,
Well, the very
go do something, characters.
The very brief plot is that the goons steal this North Star. No, wait. Is it
yeah,
the
they
North
steal
yeah.
the North
How-
Star.
I don't even
They're
know
gonna put
how.
it up somewhere else in
The mystic diamond that like makes the North Star
right
shine.
have its power.
Okay.
Like,
They
they're
stole it
gonna-
from the
Right,
Temple of the
okay.
Heavens.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're gonna take the mystic diamond to Parnassus and
Right.
have someone shoot it into Aphrodite's constellation to make hers the brightest.
She deserves that. Yeah. And then she now, so she sends them there, and Xena and co they've already been in pursuit of these guys since they stole it.
Yes.
And detour them, so they end up at this lake where everybody is, and like that's it. That's the plot, and they're trying to get the diamond back.
It's a lot like Day in the Life, where they kind of are camped out in a location, and the bad guys are eventually gonna get to that location, and they're kind of just setting up a trap for them throughout the episode. Like that's just it. It's a very simple plot, and it's kind of set up in a way where you don't even have to be reminded of like, where's the diamond now? You barely see the diamond.
Yeah.
So I think DeBeers actually wasn't that happy with the representation of diamonds here, because it's really not important.
It was also a massive diamond.
Yeah, it doesn't
really
even
big.
really look like something you'd want.
Is this episode before Titanic?
No, Titanic was in the winter, and we're now in the
So it's already
spring.
Titanic.
Yeah,
So,
Titanic's.
diamond fever is everywhere.
As long as it's shaped in a heart.
Well, Aphrodite, in order to prevent Xena, Gabrielle, and Joxer from like catching up to the goons, is like, I got you guys.
With Calvin Klein's
obsession. Yes, she got a brand new perfume. She's gonna test it out on our team, and like anything that they see while she puts it on them, they become obsessed with.
And it's so weird because the things that they actually like find in this temple to be obsessed with, like for all three of them, I'm kind of like, why was that there? Like, why was there a Tarzan comic on the wall of this temple? Because it's
Temple of Aphrodite.
It's such a great love story,
Yeah,
I guess.
I
But
guess.
I'm like, really that?
I don't think
know
Tarzan's love story is great.
That's what they say,
Yeah.
which I think was their way of being like, that's why it's here. It's like Gabrielle's like, it's a great love story.
Okay.
Addis and
About
Gia? What's her
Gia,
name?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Tarzan. When you think of Tarzan, do you go, "That's a great love story"?
Me, Jane, you, Tarzan. I don't know. I guess.
Me, Tarzan,
That's not
you,
how
Jane.
talks. That is backwards. Remember Tarzan, the television show?
Oh my god, I know.
Oh,
This
okay.
whole episode is like a precursor to Lucy and Tarzan.
Xena did it first.
I mean, yeah.
Xena finds fish in the temple. It's like an
Okay,
offering.
that's
I guess
my
that
problem. I mean, I understand
sense.
that, like, yeah, if you're a fisherman, like, that's your bounty, and of course you would bring it
But
to
Aphrodite hates fish. They're grody.
I mean, yeah, they smell. But it was really funny. It was like fruit and like whatever, and then like a bucket of
You should
fish.
just grill it or something. It's gonna stink up that whole temple.
I'm sure by then it already smells so bad, and Xena's like, oh, walleye.
Oh, I love that. See, that's how you know she's already obsessed with them. That's before she gets sprayed with the perfume. She's just like monologuing about what kind of fish this is. And then Gabrielle first sees the Kama Sutra painting.
She goes literally next to like XXX sign.
Yeah, I like that sign.
She's entering adults only part of the
back
temple.
room
Yes.
of the temple.
Yes, it's like in your video store. Oh man.
I was always like, hee hee hee.
Oh, man.
I peeked through the door.
Yeah.
That good exchange between Xena and Gabrielle here, where she turns to Xena and is like, that's not humanly possible. And Xena's like, sure it is.
Yeah, she barely even looks at it. She just glances. She's like, yeah. Me and Barias on a horse once.
Yeah.
You had to be there.
Yeah, so then Xena's holding the fish right when
She gets
Aphrodite sprays her.
So, okay, they're all obsessed with their things. Maybe
And,
let's talk about each of these plot lines, the obsession plot lines separately.
Okay.
So why don't we start with the one who's self-obsessed,
Okay.
Gabrielle.
Shall we sing her little song?
Which version, the scripted version or the version that Josh Becker in his
explain
genius
this. Explain
created?
this.
Wait, what?
So, according to Rushes by Josh Becker,
Oh my goodness.
he has an example of the script, the original song that Gabrielle sings, which is weird, I admit. I sing the song of Gabrielle, a diamond like none before, the bard without peer, a sight beyond compare, a temptress of renown, a woman with no something else, because that's when Xena stops her. And it's like, none of that.
I guess it sounds more like something Gabrielle might write.
I guess. But
That's
it's
in
like
her
it doesn't
style.
rhyme
No.
at all.
It doesn't sound like a song.
Yeah.
Which is funny because this is in a speech about how her scrolls should be sung. So you think it should sound a little musical.
Yeah.
And not the Beverly Hillbillies thing?
Yeah, not like the Beverly Hills. Yeah, so instead she sings this song to the Beverly Hillbillies theme, which Josh Becker says he wrote in
between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m.
Okay.
when
Sounds exactly like
they
that.
filmed it.
Sometimes that's the best time to do things.
Listen to my story about Gabrielle,
Gabrielle.
a cute little gal that's looking really swell. Couldn't sing that part. She's got perfect hair, such a lovely lass, nice round breasts, and a firm young.
And Xena stops her. She's gonna say ass.
It's a weird song to compose about yourself.
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong. But would she sing this? Under the influence of a spell.
Yeah, that's
Fine.
like her inner.
I feel like this is something
Gabrielle.
Joxer would write about her. This
That's
definitely
true.
sounds like a man wrote this song for her
Yeah.
about herself.
Yeah, I don't think she would highlight these features.
These particular
like
features.
in terms of selling herself up.
Well, she was like checking herself out right there.
I guess it became about vanity and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah, oh, it definitely was
But
about
a
looks.
song based on how it's ultimately resolved being about like
Right,
her being a great writer or stuff like that would
Yeah.
be much more in character.
It's true. I would have
Or
liked.
much more-
I'm fine with the physical vanity because it's so funny.
or cleverness in coming up with
But I feel like there should have been more
help
like that.
for Xena.
Right. There is a moment in it where she's like, I could go to the nearest town and convince everybody to like come help you fish. And Xena's like, nobody catches Solaris but me. But like, yeah, I kind of wanted more of that. Her other abilities kind of being
Yeah.
talked up. Like, what a great fighter she is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really
We're ruining
stayed
the silly
on.
song about her ass.
I know. I didn't like the song
Yeah?
about her ass. I mean, I laughed, but after I laughed, I was like, it low,
Yeah,
low
low.
hanging fruit.
It really became about her vanity, though. Like, I mean, that definitely was the number one thing in
Did
this
her
plot.
eyeshadow become extra?
Oh my god, her makeup was
I thought
nuts.
she looked really good.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
liked.
she does
I
look
like
good.
the hair, kind of the half up hair.
Slightly puffier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like she had lipstick darker than Xena's, and
Sometimes it
also
was from bugs,
eyeliner. I mean, a lot of it was. I wonder is it because they filmed outside in this lake all the time?
Oh, okay.
That it was like just the light made it kind of extra. I don't know.
Could be.
It's just my
I
hypothesis.
thought it looked really good. I thought this whole thing was a really good look for Gabs, which totally makes sense because she brushed her hair like 1,000 times.
Yeah, she was Marcia braiding her hair, or Princess Diana.
Would you like Xena does like take her down a little bit sometimes? Like she makes fun of her being tiny.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Well, only to kind of
Listen.
motivate her.
Only to motivate
she
her.
needs
You're
her
right.
to leap.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Listen,
She
that
wants
part,
her to be
that
good.
part spoke so much to me. As
Oh, no.
someone who's a shorto, it is
You're
rough.
always leaping for things above
It's
your
rough.
It's like how Mulder wasn't sure if
Yes,
Scully's
because little feet
little
could reach
feet
those pedals.
could
Yeah.
reach the pedals.
head. I also like the detail, like her like unlacing her top. Had we ever seen that connection? That's how she puts that thing on. She,
No.
like, ties it on.
There's another, like, whichever episode upcoming, she's, like, taking a shower, and we kind of see how her top goes on in that, maybe.
So yeah, we get variations on this same joke
Right.
about her being in love with herself, her brushing her hair. She doesn't really want to help Xena because she's too busy like staring at herself in the reflection of like Xena's sword, which I thought was a really funny little beat. And then where eventually does her self-obsession get her? I feel like you knew this was coming, like this
Narcissus moment.
Yeah, she wants to make out with herself in the lake.
I wanted to see that. I mean, it was very
You
funny.
want to see her flop in.
Yeah, I wanted to see her try to kiss her own reflection. I guess it might be hard to shoot that to like make that look good, but I mean, it was very
that's-
funny
you
to hear her
needed
explain
to-
it to Xena after.
Yeah, I think that the fact that it would look bad is part of it. She thinks she's like the graceful, most amazing person
Right,
alive.
and then you're like,
and then she like flops
You're
in.
making duck face at your own reflection in the
Yeah,
water.
and like her butt
Yeah.
is out, probably on the dock. It's like not pleasant to look at.
But yeah, it does lead to this great scene where she's like, Xena saves her. Xena
Yeah.
goes fishing for a Gabs.
But why is she down there? I thought she said something like how down there, like it was.
Oh, yeah, she
extra
felt
beautiful.
the
Yeah.
embrace of herself
Yeah.
in the water. It was
Yeah.
like being hugged by your own body. It was really confusing and strange.
Yeah, so we just needed like some kind of excuse for Xena to go in and
Go in there.
Baywatch rescue her.
Oh, yeah. If only she had the red swimsuit.
Oh,
I was
please.
confused by Xena's brown shift. Have we seen that before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
we totally
have.
have.
That's her undergarment.
It just looked like this like little dress. I was like, what's Xena's little fishing dress?
Don't you remember her swimming outfit from season 1?
I loved her swimming outfit
so much.
Special little outfit
because of this. Like she could just go swimming in her regular dress of leather
dress.
Oh my
but
God.
this is the quality portion of the episode.
This is maybe the best scene, I think, when Gabrielle explains what happened to her and her revelation that she had while she was being rescued by Xena.
Of course, we have first the promise of some TV CPR, which we do not get.
Yes!
Gabrielle spits water in Xena's face
right
instead.
in her face.
How dare they?
I feel like you could see Renee has like the
You
water
can.
in her
You
cheeks. She has like a little hamster mouth.
You can. It's really nice.
She had to hold her breath a while.
Yeah. She got dragged out of there. Yeah.
So yeah, there's the speech. And then you pulled me up. And I looked into your eyes and finally realized there can only be one person in my life.
Xena's face. Just so excited.
So hopeful. It's really sweet. It's a sweet moment. Me!
Says Gabrielle.
And then I love that Gabs is like, hey, I let you save me.
Oh my God.
Xena's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But see, Xena takes a break from caring about fishing to like actually be excited.
No,
that
I think you're right
Gabrielle's-
on that. Like she was already into fishing, so she has definitely way more focus.
Yeah, she can like have a moment of like caring, like what Gabrielle's gonna say at the end of this speech. Like she's interested.
Do you think Aphrodite remembered Quilla's mightier and was like, "Oh, this really makes Xena unfocused, so it'll be perfect.
True.
Let me
She
blow the
should have
spell."
referenced it. You were obsessed with fishing in my previous episode, so let's do that again. She gives her a double dose.
She does?
Yeah, she says she's annoyed at her for, I forget. She says something.
Oh, about how stinky or whatever.
Probably
gross it is
something
in
something
here.
dismissive about Aphrodite's
Oh my
stuff.
God.
So Aphrodite's like, I double dose for you. And it's funny because it seems like it affected her the least. Of anybody.
Well, Aphrodite doesn't know that this is like her inner brain is constantly like little fish. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe let's talk a bit about Xena and her fishing plot.
Yes.
Yeah.
This, I think, works best of all of them because halfway through you realize that it's not about fishing at all. It's about Lyceus. And there's this wonderful flashback scene of little Xena and little Lyceus that I thought was very well done.
It was so well done in terms of look. I agree with Josh Becker about patting his own back about it. It is legitimately amazing. You see her in, like, they're filming in this amazing lake the whole time. Like, that's one thing we should say.
The production values are amazing.
Is it the same lake that she originally did the bathing suit that you don't like?
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's the same. It's their lake.
Well, there are multiple lakes.
So it's gorgeous. It's like the most beautiful
The water
weather.
is just like crystal clear.
Yeah, everything is perfect about it. So they filmed the whole episode basically there. She kind of like goes to this lake, and it's like a huge memory for her because like she used to fish with Lyceus, like
Who hated it.
in that lake.
Yeah.
This is the only time we ever see tiny Xena on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Out, yeah.
So
Which is, it's crazy.
Yeah,
you
that
never see her. I guess you don't have flashbacks to the young Gabs either.
No, you don't.
It's not really something the show does. Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I would have liked it. I think this is some nice insight. And, you know, it packs an emotional punch, the idea that, you know, this was Xena's life back in the day. Idyllic fishing trips with Lyceus. She bullied him into catching fish with her.
Shit. Well, that's consistent with her character.
It is.
So she kind of like stands in front of this lake and clearly is affected by it. We don't know why yet. And then there's like this shot of her with this like beautiful golden light, like a sunset light on her, even though it doesn't really match the shot of the lake. And as you're seeing, her face is kind of like in the bottom left corner, or like half of the screen is filled with that. Behind her, you see a young girl and boy run, and it's like, Lyceus, you know, way up. And you're like, oh shit, that's Xena and Lyceus. And we enter the flashback that way, which was a really cool way to do it.
Yeah, and the color changes.
The color changes, like you're following them now, and then the way you get out of the flashback is dissolving from young Xena to current Xena. It was really well done, and it was so emotional that I was like, well, why is the only thing in this episode like this? Like, I wish all of the episode was like filled with people's flashbacks of themselves.
Yeah, why
like,
is vanity so important to
Yeah,
gags?
like-
I would have liked a certain, like, it could have been a more character-based episode rather than just gag-based.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of when you give when you give me a little piece of like legitimate stuff in there, I'm like, I want more. I want the whole thing rewritten and redone to be about all these characters and their childhoods. Give it to me now.
Gag base makes me think of how it was originally called fish shtick.
Shticks, right. So it's like,
Oh my god.
and clearly they were so attached to that
Yeah.
title, they'll end up using a version of it later.
Of course.
Of course.
It's all Rob.
Yes, they will.
Also, a fish talks in this episode.
Oh.
The continuing
Oh my God.
through line in Xena that marine life can speak. What an odd choice.
Yeah.
By Mr. Rob Tapert.
So let's talk a little bit more about the flashback and what it revealed about Xena's past. Xena and Lyceus used to fish in this lake, and they made an enemy out of this legendary fish that's in there.
Is he very big?
He's like Big Fish, the movie Big Fish.
Yeah.
He's that.
It was hard to
Like
tell
a Moby
somehow.
Dick situation.
Yeah.
His appearances, he didn't seem that big, but
Well,
he must
that's-
have been.
that's
the
the-
CGI
yeah.
fish didn't quite live up to it. But he's the white whale
Yes.
for sure.
So they couldn't catch him back then.
And it's always hung over Xena that she couldn't catch this fish with Lyceus.
Yeah.
So she's doing this for him.
Right.
So and that gets kind of mixed up in her head. She at first remembers that she needs to stop these goons from conveying the mystic diamond to the Parnassus. But then the more she gets obsessed with Solaris, it seems like she's forgotten about the diamond.
That's the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fishing obsession becomes much more intense. I think like hers is more gradual, which maybe seems like it's why she's really focused more so than
Maybe.
everyone else, because like she gets more and more angry about fishing like as the episode goes on.
And she tries the kite thing, and then you don't really realize that it was always to get to Solaris that way.
Yeah.
Like you're first like, why is she doing the kite? And I feel like she doesn't quite.
Well, I think the
No.
kite she starts flying the kite knowing about the diamond. So she always plans to somehow use the
Okay.
kite to fix the situation with the diamond.
Yeah.
But eventually it becomes more about kite fishing.
Yeah.
But clearly the kite is just in there to be a day in the life.
Yeah, to
It's
remind you
so
of a day in the life,
like a
yeah.
day in the life, even down to the fact that Gabs gets hit in the face with it again.
It was
Oh,
really
so
funny.
cute.
Yeah, it
Everybody
was so
loves
cute.
that joke.
Oh, this is the You're Beautiful When You're Angry episode.
Oh.
I do love that.
What about when Xena took a piece of her hair? Like she cut a piece of her hair.
Like little golden fleece.
That was so like she went to hug Gabrielle and then like really sinisterly like
Pulled out like
yeah,
the
a
knife from her boot.
and like
I was
cut a
like,
little
oh my
piece
god,
off.
she's gonna kill Gabs.
And then Gabrielle like refused to let her have it and tried to put it back into her hair. It didn't work.
a weave.
Yeah. Well, she didn't think of that. She was just trying to like attach it.
Yeah.
And it like did not work. And it was like, fine, you can have it.
And
So
the camera
Gabrielle-
pulls out, and you see Xena like really openly sulking.
Oh, I love that
like
shot.
hugging the kite to her.
It
And
was
So
so
cute.
cute. Yeah, but then she was super happy when Gabrielle let her have it.
And now, while we were talking about Lyceus and this,
Yes, this
let's
part.
talk about Xena saying that Gabrielle's hair is so much like Lyceus's, and the Lyceus and Gabrielle continuing connection.
Oh my God, this was
how
kind of
creepy is
embarrassing.
this?
This was like very
Is this
revealing.
as creepy as Ares being Xena's dad?
No,
And this
no,
is-
it's a little less creepy.
A little less.
I think it's
creepy.
more creepy, but in
Really?
an awesomer way.
She wants to fuck her brother.
Yeah, that's what the
That's
point of this episode
basically
is.
what it all
That
means.
it boils down to that, and I love it. And it's continuous from Remember Nothing.
Remember Nothing?
Yes.
She was so happy that the two of them were together and like was
Right.
totally equating them. Was just like, your pure innocence. Like
Yeah.
they'll be pure innocence together and I'll watch.
So multiple times in this episode, it was kind of
Yeah,
about that
Gabrielle has
psychology.
hair just the same shade as Lyceus's. Her attitude towards fishing is just the same as Lyceus's.
She's the same height as Lyceus. He also had a lovely ass, just like Gabrielle.
No, I mean, it's funny to joke, and but I also love that they, have these qualities that
Yeah.
Xena admires so much.
And I
she's
think that
attracted
is a
to.
part
Yes.
of Xena's psychology. Is,
Yeah.
protecting Gabrielle's innocence is so much about the fact that her innocent brother died
Yes.
at that age. That clearly molded so much of Xena's needs.
Yeah.
I wish this was a little bit more in a different episode than Caveman Joxer.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I just feel like this episode is really just all over the place because you have this like serious drama in a way. I mean, obviously lightly handled, but like, it's about grief. And for Gabrielle, it's about not feeling appreciated, which you could tie back to stuff from the Rift. But then you have like Joxer there being like extra creepy and rapey with his tongue.
Oh god, so I guess we're gonna talk about Joxer now.
Yeah, let's do it.
The extra layer of comic relief in an episode is filled with comic relief. Like, it's crazy.
It feels like too much, and it's also just a little, I don't know. Every time it cut to him, I was bored. Because, I mean, in a way it's great because all of Gabrielle and Xena's material, it's like together. They're like each other's comic foil because each of them is kind of standing in the way of the other, like just getting to do their obsession.
But on the other hand, like, I wouldn't want Joxer to be
I don't
anywhere
want him
near
up in
them.
there, yeah. But it did just feel like, okay, here's this subplot that's about Joxer eating bugs and eventually trying to rape Gabrielle. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's what it was.
Was that when he didn't want it to be like a consensual thing between the two of them?
I mean,
he envisioned,
in
like,
his mind,
in his
she's
mind,
saying
she was
yes.
saying yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Which is basically every.
Yeah, it's real bad.
It's really
No,
rapey,
you're right. It's pretty bad.
It's very primitive.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, what did you think of, like, Joxer POV of
Well,
ape-girl Gabs?
I liked that scene because it was like the most elaborate, I guess, from the Joxer stuff. Joxer saw the Ape-man storyline and then obviously became obsessed. Like, he didn't become obsessed like with the storyline. He like was like, I am an Ape-man now. Like,
he
which
went
is a little
one
weird.
step further.
So the whole time, he's like acting like a monkey, and that's just like an excuse for Ted to do that, and it's just like that's what it is. There's one great scene where he is sitting there being his monkey man, and Gabrielle comes in like whining about how she's worried about Xena because like Xena's just so obsessed. I'm thinking clearly. I'm Gabrielle. I'm thinking clearly.
I do love that detail that both Xena and Gabrielle insist they're not under the spell.
Of course, yeah.
Which I feel like there's something in Buffy like that, and I couldn't remember exactly what it is. There's always somebody in Buffy who claims they're not being affected by the spell when they are. No? Did I just make this up?
I'm sure it exists in all of Buffy. I'm sure there is one episode like that. But so he's sitting there and she's like complaining to him. And when she's talking, it's like intercut between Joxer POV and regular scene.
What's actually happening, yeah.
So it's like the same shot. And you see like the Joxer POV with this like haze on it, like this like filter. And Gabrielle is like a she-monkey, basically, a monkey lady. And she's like, doing the monkey stuff. And he's like, oh my gosh. And they're having this monkey conversation where she's basically asking to be fucked by him. She's like, I want it now. Tug, tug.
No.
Give it to me now.
That's what she
And he's
says.
like, yep, I will. And it's just, it's a little bit of an issue because that's like really his, wants and needs the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, like, if they had continued the episode and explained the unresolved issues that had created this obsession for Joxer, it would have something to do with his feelings for Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Like, and, becomes obsessed with this romance in which he is, like, the dominating male who can rescue the damsel.
Right.
I saw a great quote from Renee O'Connor where she was like, this is, like, not how I like to play Gabrielle as the sort of girly girl in distress, the damsel. And, like, for this episode, it was okay. Because, like, it made sense. She was under a spell. But she's like, this isn't, like, what I try never to do the character in this way. Where she, like, needs to be rescued. Yeah.
How does she feel about Monkey Gabrielle?
She did a great job. I loved her screech.
Oh, she was amazing. Yeah.
There could have been more of that, to be honest.
So, like, it was really funny.
I think there was
You were like, that was just enough.
I don't know. This is the kind of thing where, like, I don't like any of the monkey stuff. And that's, like, if I turned it on, like, when it was airing, I would have been like, nope, and turned it off.
It's true. It's not.
Yeah. Do you think it was, like, really for the kids? Like...
I mean, it does. It's such a low IQ thing. It is very dumb. I can't believe they had the like bug eating joke not once but like 4 times.
And I kind of didn't like the stock footage usage, like
Oh,
which
yeah.
I've
Well,
liked
okay,
at
so,
other points on the show.
Some things about that from Josh Becker,
Okay.
our main man.
This has been the podcast in which we quote Josh Becker.
Well, I didn't know he had a
Yeah.
whole
He has a
essay.
whole-
We are
really.
going to find his book. I think that's
Is it about
on the list. Maybe that should be
It's
our
about his
goal
career,
for $500.
Oh my
on
God,
Patreon.
yes. We read passages from Josh Becker, spilling the tea. They came up with the Monkey Man stuff, like him and Ted like watched 2001 Space Odyssey and like picked up how to do monkey stuff from that.
That's really ridiculous.
And because the episode was rewritten, like a lot of that stuff was improv. So they came up with the whole like him talking to the trout, him talking to the other animals, like on the fly kind of thing.
Wow. I mean, it shows, I also read that nobody knew their lines this episode, and not just because they were hungover from partying the night before. Like,
speculation?
they didn't know their lines
It's fact.
because
She
they
said
had
it. She
been
said it.
written, you know, the previous day, so they had no
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
with
it
the
was-
script.
So that's
and-
important to remember that,
We should give
absolutely.
it's Steve and RJ rewrote the Gabrielle plot / everything else.
Yeah, but you see, I mean, the
Over-
Gabrielle
over
plot
the
is
weekend.
like so integrated into the
Yeah.
episode. You can imagine that just the entire thing changed, you know, overnight.
Yeah.
And nobody knew their lines. Like, they didn't have any time to rehearse these scenes.
Yeah.
So they were just feeding them lines. Like, they were standing off camera, like, being like, okay, Renee,
Wow.
you're going to say this, this, and this. So, like, I mean, it's amazing that this turned out at all. Like, the
Fine.
fact that the humor succeeds probably 50% of the time.
Renee, I think, is amazing. Like, I think she
Yeah.
did especially if they're like feeding her lines or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
She
they're such
is
pros.
really committed
like,
to this
It's
Of
really
course,
good.
that's always what carries the stuff. They're all really funny in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can tell they're having a great time with it.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. And even though like some of the joking is like repetitive or the same joke, can be funny all the time because they're so good at saying
Yeah,
it.
and it's like slight variations on the same joke, but it is the same joke. Like that's what we're
But yeah,
saying.
probably
Yeah.
if we had to write a comedy script in 2 days, it would be the same joke
Yeah, right.
over and over again too, and it
Yes.
would all be Tarzan humor.
apparently.
Apparently.
Well, yeah, speaking of Tarzan, I do like that part where Gabs is like, he's acting really weird. We shouldn't be seen in public with him.
I love that.
I
so
wish
much.
they said that every episode.
I know. All right, so other things that Joxer does, he at one point does kidnap Gabrielle, takes her on the vines.
Multiple times. Well, once I think he saves her on the vine, and
Yeah,
once he kidnaps
he like
her.
takes her
Yeah.
to Tug Tug. He's shirtless,
Oh yeah.
and she.
I think he's more than shirtless. He's
just fully nude?
clothesless. Yeah, at one point they had like a shot of him, like his naked ass.
Oh,
like,
really? I
on
missed
the vine,
that. Oh
and
my
the
God.
studio caught it and said you gotta put a
okay,
thong
good.
on that.
Put a thong on it, thong, so, well, I did like his costume because it was a like pink nightgown, like a nightie that Gabrielle for some reason had in her bag.
Yeah,
What-
why?
what?
Is that her like sexy outfit
For
nights
Xena?
with Xena? I don't think Xena would be into that though.
It was very strange, and we were like, she doesn't have that.
It looks like
what is
something a
this?
little girl would wear. It was.
I mean, that's the point
Puzzling,
of
right.
like that
That's why
concept of why
Joxer
it's
has
there
it,
because
yeah.
it's absurd to be on him, but at the same time, it's like, where did this come from for Gabrielle? We've never seen her wear anything remotely like this. This is just here for the episode. But I did love the detail that he was wearing these like fuzzy socks, like
Oh, yeah.
instead of boots.
I kept noticing those.
It was
didn't
really
notice
cute.
them.
Like that is the
Aw,
one
his
good
feet
thing.
were cold.
Well, like, but he took his boots off,
Yeah.
so it's just, it was really funny. Yeah.
Ooh, boots.
Yes.
There's a Gabrielle through line about boots, not to be like
Our favorite thing, the boots through line.
a tangent, but like she keeps asking if, or she asks if like her boots go with her skirt, and then later decides
Oh,
that they
yes.
don't. Would these be her similar but new boots from Thessaly?
I
Yeah.
think they must
Yeah.
be.
They are,
Yeah.
100%.
The new boots. So,
Yeah.
She's doubting their.
did you guys notice? Did they look different?
I don't think
Did
they
they
look
go
They're
with
the same.
skirt
They're
different.
her same outfit.
She literally
Like,
never
it's-
changes
no.
his outfit other
Not-
than
not
the
in-
top
not yet.
growing
Yes,
smaller.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're the same boots throughout the whole series, like the red ones.
Yeah, there are variations on the red ones.
Yeah. Oh, Joxer and Xena have like a vine off for Gabrielle.
Well, we need that, of course. We need a bit where Xena and Gabrielle are swinging on the vine.
Yeah.
'Cause it's very romantic. It's a nice thing to do. They clearly just didn't know how to make that happen other than total nonsense.
Yeah.
And Gabrielle saying, she's come for me. I knew she would. She can't live without me for a minute.
That is probably the same line as from the previous version of the script.
Sorry.
Oh my god. I get
It just means something different
It took
there.
me
Yeah.
10 minutes too long.
I also really like how Xena, at the end of the day, kind of like realized, because she's partially aware of the situation, to have both Joxer and Gabrielle like use their obsessions to help her like defeat the goons and whatnot and get the diamond. Like she was like,
Which again is a bit day in the life.
Yeah.
That she figures out how to get everybody to the right place at the right time in just the right way.
Yeah, she figures out that, well, the way to get Gabrielle to be useful here is, hey, there's a diamond, and Aphrodite thinks she's the most beautiful woman to have this, but you are. So like Gabrielle like literally runs to get it.
You're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Oh.
And then like Joxer, she whispers something, we don't know what she says, but he shows up and helps out the situation later. And that's how they defeat the goons.
And catch Solaris the fish.
Yes, so the final kind of like beat for the plot is that she manages to get Solaris, but also...
Which is also a great Tarkovsky film.
But not a...
Good Soderbergh film.
Yeah, not
I've never
great.
seen it.
Yeah.
I only saw the Soderbergh.
The Soderbergh. Get out of here!
Sorry. Failure.
Both those movies sponsored by DeBeers. So she sends Solaris into the sky, and the diamond is on the little like clip, or what?
I guess so. Fish and diamond. Diamond is bait, which is weird. Why does Solaris want to eat a diamond?
Because
He's stupid.
It shines like a delicious shrimp. Giant shrimp.
She hooks two fish with one... No, wait. She gets
Two fish
with one hook.
Yeah.
That's the same.
That's it. There you go. So yeah, launches all of it into the sky. So he becomes, what is it? The fish? I don't know.
fish
Constellations.
Pisces.
Yeah. Pisces.
Yes.
There you go.
But the North Star is now in that one.
I don't know. Yeah,
That's weird.
The North Star does not belong.
In Pisces?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
out in Ursa.
In the Xena universe.
Major? Minor?
Like, the stars are different, I guess.
I guess so.
Okay. Well, because they fuck around with them like this.
Unless it went back to where it was supposed to go, and then also there was a fish constellation.
But you see it
forget.
shining.
Yeah,
in the
right,
thing.
yeah.
And
they
Gabrielle's
do
like, which
show it.
one is it? And
Yeah.
you point.
I mean, that's the cute, like, the end bit is really cute.
Well,
It
where-
is. Again, a total repeat of Day in the Life with the stargazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, they resolve their obsession issues here.
Yes, important. Xena realizes, like, as soon as she figures out that this isn't really about fishing at all, it's about Lyceus and her survivor's guilt about Lyceus, the fact that she feels like she owes him something.
Yeah.
Apparently catching this fish is what she owes him. Not really, though.
Right.
But it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's like her head starts hurting and like the spell goes off like physically as soon as Solaris goes up in the air with the diamond.
Yeah, and it's funny because as soon as it's over, she's like, I was obsessed with fishing. Like, it's funny. They each suddenly have some self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
she's like, Gabrielle, quick, think of something.
Lie
that's
on my therapist's couch and let's talk about your many
your
issues.
feelings. Yeah.
So she figures out that Gabrielle just doesn't feel appreciated.
Yeah.
So she's appreciating herself.
Which is, yeah, it was all about how she thinks she's still a sidekick and like whatnot, where she was never part of the episode. But
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's not part of the episode. I think that's kind of,
That's
a big issue with her.
Yeah. I mean, I can see a version of this where that could have been a thing, but without it, you can't help but look at, what have we just done? Forget Me Not and When
my
in Rome,
God,
these episodes where she was extremely empowered, was not the comedy sidekick at all. So
Right.
you are kind of like, why is this precise issue lingering? I mean, I think you could have made a case for it, because I do think Gabrielle has been through so much that of course she would need validation, not feeling like she
she would always
belongs
have that
there.
insecurity.
But that's like it kind of goes with Forget-Me-Not. I think Forget-Me-Not Gabrielle, who like just wants to be told, "You're special, Gabrielle.
Yeah.
I like you, Gabrielle. I need you here, Gabrielle. You're special."
What do you think it would have been in the original version of the script where she
I mean,
I don't know.
was obsessed with Xena? Like, what's the underlying issue that's exposing? The fact that she's obsessed with Xena? As soon as she's like, I'm obsessed with Xena, she'll be like, ding, oh, I was obsessed with Xena.
I don't know. I still think that it would have been something like she, some kind of she needs to get laid thing.
Might have been
but like it's
different.
been a really
Might
long
have
time.
Yeah, they might not have had
like
this.
the resolution might have been like completely different situation.
Yeah, that's a good
know.
point. It feels very tacked on as it is. Like they kind of just, it's such an easy fix.
I feel like it was like this originally.
There was like no way. It was
It's
always
very easy. I like that Xena, as soon as Gabrielle's spell goes off, she's like, Gabrielle, I promise to, never think of you as a sidekick. I'm always gonna tell you.
And she's gonna tell everyone.
Yeah. Well,
this
that's
made
the
me
thing
think
with
of the anonymous author of the scrolls. The fact that Gabrielle doesn't get credit for having written them. Gabrielle even here is worried about that, about credit. Yeah.
So you're saying her head gets smaller by the end of
That she's building Xena's fame, and
Yeah.
it's like nobody's building hers.
Oh.
So Xena wants to do it.
Well, I just thought it was really interesting that Xena had to tell her 2 times that she was going to tell everyone how awesome Gabrielle is.
Oh.
I thought that was really
You
funny.
should start writing the Gabrielle scrolls.
Oh, God.
But she's illiterate, so.
I think, this is like really jumping ahead, but when you see Xena write in season 6, I feel like she has really bad handwriting.
That's true.
like,
Nobody will ever be able to read it if she were to write the Gabrielle scrolls.
It's very good.
So yeah, then the final beat is that Joxer is still under the spell. He's still Addis the Ape-man. And they're like, we'll deal with it in the morning.
Yeah,
We
which
don't
is
even bother.
so legit. Yeah, so we don't really know what's going on with him, but
Nope,
that's fine.
and we'll never know.
That's fine.
But they're under the stars being adorable.
And some eagle-eyed fans spotted that in the slow dissolve to black, Gabrielle is like reaching for Xena at the end.
Oh,
Which
good.
part of
They
Xena?
do like some kind of like arm wrestling thing. That's what the scene. That's how it was originally going to end, with them like kind of play fighting.
Oh my god.
But instead, it ends
Tickle
with
fight?
just some reaching,
Okay.
some
Gosh.
suggestive reaching.
Oh my
Is that our
goodness.
word? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like suggestive.
I
All
like
right,
that.
interesting.
I like her big line to Gabrielle. Do you? The only reason Xena does anything good is because she does it with Gabrielle.
Oh, yeah.
Really
I mean,
sweet.
that's really good.
Yeah.
Gabs really.
But again,
needs to
slightly
hear it.
puzzling in this nonsense episode for it to resolve with this
Right.
like pretty sincere, lovely, poetic
Well, it's
praise.
part of her appreciating
Yeah.
Gabrielle. Yeah,
She's doing a great job
yeah,
with
yeah.
the Gabrielle Appreciation Society.
Today, but tomorrow she's just gonna be like, Gabs, do this, go over there. I'm fishing. So I guess that's it for this one.
Fins, femmes, and gems.
It's an episode. It's
Yeah.
fine.
It's fine.
I think your mileage varies.
I'd be definitely curious to hear from people who really love it. Like if it's just like, fun popcorn, or if there's something in it that we just
A bigger take.
aren't
A hot
picking
take.
up on. Yeah, I would definitely love to hear your hot takes.
All right, so I guess we are done with this,
Cool.
and let's wrap it up.
Yeah, all the stuff. We are on the interwebs nits at xenowarriorpodcast.com. You can listen to episodes. Please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/xenowarriorpodcast. You can see all of the fun stuff that we're doing over there and all the stuff that you could maybe get. We are on all the places where you can normally listen to podcasts. That is your Stitchers and your Apple Podcasts and your Google Plays. Please subscribe, rate, leave reviews. Social medias, Twitter at XenoWarriorPod, Tumblr and Facebook at XenoWarriorPodcast. The end.
The power!
The passion.
The podcast!